One of the key ingredients to making a great video is music choice. Music dictates the mood of a scene instantly and changes how the viewer feels about what they're watching. I'll be breaking down why music is so important, and I'm gonna show you my process to making the songs in my videos fit perfectly. I want to start off by saying thank you for taking the time to watch this video. This is my very first YouTube tutorial, but it is the first of many. So if you enjoy the content that you see throughout this video, please drop a like, subscribe to the channel. So let's talk about the why. Why is music so important when it comes to video? Most of us humans have 5 senses: smell, taste, touch, vision, and hearing. This is how we interact with the world around us. Now, as a filmmaker, my goal is to stimulate these senses for the viewer in the most pleasant and aesthetic way possible. Unfortunately, you can't touch my videos, nor can you eat or smell them. So that only leaves 2 senses left: seeing and hearing. Most viewers can use both of these senses to enjoy videos. If us creators only focused on visual elements, you're only getting half of the experience, which leaves so much potential to immerse the viewer even more. This doesn't mean that you can just throw any song and be done with it. Your audio should have purpose behind it, and it should absolutely be looked at as the second half of your piece of art. This is why film scoring is such an important part of the movie industry. I'll show you an example. Here's a clip from Star Wars. Now that was arguably some of the best film scoring and sound design in history to ever hit the big screen. Here's that same clip with different music. Watch how the whole mood changes and makes you feel completely different about what you're watching. Now I know what you're thinking. I'm great at creating my own sound effects. Thank you. Thank you. I hope you get the point that what the viewer is hearing is just as important as what they're seeing. There are 2 main elements to the audio within a video: music and sound effects. Now, in my opinion, they're both equally as important, but for this video, I'm going to be focusing mostly on music. If you want to see a full breakdown on adding sound effects to enhance the viewing experience even more, make sure to let me know down in the comments. Step 1 is to find a royalty-free music website. Personally, I use Soundstripe for most of my projects. Step 2 is to figure out a genre. So the mood of your song should align with what your video is trying to portray. So if you're putting together an interview for a dramatic documentary, you may want to use slower piano music. But if you're putting together a recap for a festival, you probably want to use highly energetic music like EDM or pop. Once you've figured out the message of your video and found a song that fits the mood, now you can drop it in your timeline and figure out what length your video will be. Now after that's decided, most filmmakers will stop right there. They'll cut it and maybe add a fade at the end, and they'll call it a day. For some songs, that may work totally fine. However, spending a little bit more time to fine-tune that song to your video will give it so much more life, immersing your viewer into your video even more. This is a video I made a few months back that had people blowing up my inbox and asking tons of questions, many of which were about how I found the music. It's roughly a 30-second video with a song that has a beginning, a climax, and an ending that all coincides with the flow of the video. As much as I wish it were the case, I did not find the song in that shape from the get-go. I did the first 3 steps that I mentioned earlier, then I added some love to it. So right here is the song that I used for the track. Down here are some sound effects that I added in. Some of them aren't relevant for the video, some of them just accentuate what the food is doing or what the actions are doing in the video. But these 2 sound effects are important for the song. I'll show you what the actual song length is. So as you can see, The actual song is much longer than the one featured in the video, and I've broken it up and taken parts of the song that fit the mood the best and pieced them all together in a way to create this short little epic score. So first, I think about the opening. How do I want the video to start? I could start with some establishing shots to give some setting to the video, in which case I would start the song on a softer note, which is usually just the intro to any song. But with this video, I jumped straight into the action, and luckily the song did too. I trimmed a little bit of the dead space from the beginning, just so it started faster. So now that we know where we want the song to start, I gotta find out where it's gonna go from there. But you do so by listening to the song and hearing where the parts of the song change, where more drums are added in, somewhere other than the very beginning of the song. So I'm gonna go ahead and drag the song over just so we can look at it a little bit easier. This right here is called a waveform. This shows all the peaks and the highs and lows of the song, all the frequencies, volumes, stuff like that. So it's pretty even throughout except for right here, and everything gets really energetic over here. Usually when there's dips like this, that's a softer part of the song. When there's very straight lines like this, usually there's a lot of things happening in the song. In the very beginning is the quietest part of the song. There's just drums happening, and there's a little bit more added in over here, and then over here it gets really crazy. So let's go and listen to where some more stuff is added over here. Alright, so there's this big drop and there's a big whoosh that is building up to that drop. So I definitely want to use that. The beginning of this song is obviously too long as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the beginning of the song in half. I'm going to start it on this initial beat, and then I'm going to go straight to that next part of the song where some more elements are added. So that's about all I want to hear of that. So I'm going to cut it right here, and I'm going to start it again right over here where more things are added. So I'm going to delete this and just drag this over. It should be on beat based on the waveforms. So now I know that there's this big whoosh over here leading up to this drop. I definitely want to use this part of the song, but I don't want this whole part to drag out as long as it is. So what I'm actually going to do is just cut this whole thing in half and just use 4 bars instead of 8 bars of this part of the song. So I'm actually going to get rid of this beginning part, trim this up just so it's right on the beat. I'll bring this over here and let's see if that sounds okay still. So it's a little bit too fast. I'll leave this little part out there. Sounds pretty good. Alright, so now we have 4 bars of this leading up to this big drop. Alright, so that drop was way too long in my opinion, especially for the clip that I used in it. I couldn't get it to last that long. So what I'm actually going to do is use the beat to dictate where I want that song to come back in. So this is how we're going to count with the song. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, boom, right there. So now that I know where I want this song to come back in, I have to know which part of the song I want to come back in. Since this video is pretty short, I plan on having it only 30-35 seconds, right? I'm going to go ahead and just jump to the end of the song just so we can have a smooth out. I don't want to fade out the song necessarily with this one because there's just too much going on. It just wouldn't sound natural. So I would like the song to end how it naturally ends. So let's listen to how that is. Sounds pretty good to me. So I'm going to figure out how many bars of that ending I want in the song. So I think I just want this part right here. Perfect. So I'm going to go and take out this whole part and get rid of this as well. And we're going to come in here and see how this sounds. 2, 3, 4. Pretty close. We just need to trim it up just a little bit. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a little bit too long still. I'm gonna trim it out just a little bit more. One, 2, 3, 4. Sounds pretty good. I really don't like this part. I can really hear this. So I'm gonna do just that. So now this starts in a clean beat, and this just ends how it ends. 1, 2, 3, 4. I will say, when I first made this whole track, I didn't like how this just came in out of nowhere and there was nothing really building up to it. It just sounds kind of out of place, kind of choppy. So what I did was take a sound effect that I had, and I used that as a build up to that next beat hit. I want the beat of the whoosh to hit exactly where the song does, so the build-up matches. So when you have a song that is super long and you're trying to cut down to like 30 seconds, 45 seconds, something short, and you got all these cuts and you're using all these different parts of the song, a good tip is to use sound effects to cover up those cuts. And overall just makes the whole song sound smoother. It doesn't really sound out of place when you put the sound effect in there. So now let's see how this sounds with the video that I made. And there it is. So that is just a small piece of my workflow. It's one of the first things that I do when I get ready to edit a video. I make sure that my song is strong. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button. I plan on uploading more content very shortly. Editing tutorials, behind the scenes, how-to videos, maybe even some videos of me playing music. If you want to see any of that type of content, please hit the subscribe button. I'll see you next time.